They made one critical mistake. They assumed her silence meant surrender. His mother, his attorneys, the pregnant woman sitting 3 seats away. They all saw compliance. What they didn't see was the attorney she called at midnight, the USB drive in her pocket, or the 47 offshore accounts she was about to expose. By the time they realized what was happening, she already owned everything. Welcome to Mr. Douglas Tales. May wisdom guide your choices, strength uphold your dignity, and clarity illuminate every path you walk. If this story speaks to you, honor it with a like and subscribe to join our community of powerful narratives. Your support helps us continue bringing these moments to life. Now, let me tell you how one woman's silence became the earthquake that shattered an empire. The ring box sits open on the mahogany table between them. White gold, 3 carats, flawless cut. She doesn't touch it. Your mother called it adequate. Her voice doesn't shake. Those were her exact words. He shifts his weight. The leather chair creaks. She didn't mean. She presented another woman at the board meeting. Pregnant. She watches his jaw tighten. You knew. He reaches for the scotch he poured 10 minutes ago. The ice has melted. It's complicated. Then uncomplicate it. The silence that follows isn't empty. It's a decision being made in real time, and she can feel the shape of it forming in the space between his hand and the glass, in the way his breathing changes when he finally lifts his eyes to meet hers. The shareholders want certainty, he says. The merger needs. She stands. The chair doesn't make a sound against the thick carpet, but he stops talking anyway. I'm going to ask you one question. She picks up the ring box, closes it with a soft click. Is she carrying your child? The seconds tick past. 5, 8, 12. His silence is the answer. She sets the box down directly in front of him. Then you don't need 2 wives. The elevator takes 43 seconds to reach the penthouse floor. She counts every one of them, her thumb pressed against the smooth metal rail, her reflection fractured across 6 mirrored panels. The doors open onto the private hallway. Marble, recessed lighting. 2 security cameras she's never noticed before. The guard at the apartment door doesn't move aside. Mrs. Ashford. His voice is neutral, professional. I'll need you to wait here. She's been through this door 500 times, maybe more. Excuse me? New security protocol. Effective immediately. He doesn't look at her directly. I've been instructed to verify all entry requests with Mr. Ashford personally. The words land with surgical precision. All entry requests. Not visitors. Not guests. All. She feels the heat rise in her chest, but her voice stays level. Call him. The guard's earpiece crackles. He turns slightly, murmuring something she can't make out. 20 seconds pass. 30. His expression doesn't change, but his posture does. Shoulders drawn back, weight redistributed. The stance of someone delivering bad news. Mr. Ashford asks that you use the guest residence tonight. Your belongings will be transferred in the morning. The guest residence. 4 floors down. 1,800 square feet with cream walls and furniture that no one has ever chosen, never used for longer than a weekend. She's hosted his sister there, his college roommate, his attorney during the prenup revision. She doesn't argue, doesn't ask for clarification, doesn't reach for her phone. Which floor? She asks. 37th. She steps back into the elevator, presses 37. The doors close on the guard's carefully blank face. The guest residence smells like lemon polish and emptiness. The lights come on automatically, motion sensors dimmed to 60%, the setting for spaces meant to feel welcoming without ever being lived in. She sets her purse on the glass console table, her keys beside it. The sound of metal on glass is the only noise in the entire apartment. Her phone buzzes. Once. Twice. She pulls it out. Mother Ashford. Board meeting. 9 a.m. tomorrow. Your presence is required. No greeting, no explanation. Just the command, clean and absolute. She types back, I'll be there. The response comes in seconds. Dress appropriately. She deletes the thread. Then she opens her contacts, scrolls past 200 names, and stops at one she hasn't called in 4 years. 3 rings. Then, I thought you'd forgotten this number. His voice is exactly the same. Low, rough-edged, the kind of voice that doesn't waste time on small talk. I need an attorney, she says. You have 6. I need one who isn't on his payroll. The pause is brief, calculating. When? Tonight. Where are you? She walks to the window. 43 floors below, the city spreads out in grids of light and shadow. Every street a pathway she used to know before elevators required permission and doors needed verification. The guest residence, she says. Another pause. Longer this time. I'll be there in 30 minutes. The line goes dead. She sits on the edge of the white sofa, hands folded in her lap, and waits. The apartment is silent except for the faint hum of climate control, the near subliminal pulse of a building that never sleeps. She doesn't turn on the television, doesn't pour herself water, doesn't move at all. At 28 minutes, the door opens. He doesn't knock, doesn't announce himself. The security system registered his clearance, his credentials, his right to be here without question. He's wearing the same dark suit he always wore to late meetings, the same watch that never needed winding, the same expression that gave away nothing until he decided otherwise. Show me, he says. She hands him her phone, the text thread with Mother Ashford, the missed calls from the family attorney, the calendar notification for tomorrow's board meeting, marked urgent, marked mandatory. He reads in silence. Then he opens his briefcase, soft leather, brass fixtures, the kind of case that's been to 1,000 negotiations, and pulls out a tablet. His fingers move across the screen with practiced efficiency. They filed this afternoon. He turns the tablet toward her. Petition for annulment, grounds, failure to produce an heir within the contractual time frame. The document is 47 pages. She doesn't need to read past the first paragraph. Contractual, she repeats. The prenup included performance clauses, fertility assessments, timeline stipulations. He swipes to page 12. You signed it. I was 23. You were legally competent. She looks at him directly. Can they win? They already have. He closes the tablet. The annulment is a formality. The real fight is asset division and public narrative. What's their narrative? That you failed to fulfill your obligations, that the marriage was entered under false pretenses, that you misrepresented your commitment to the family legacy. He sets the briefcase on the coffee table. They'll position the other woman as a corrective measure. The pregnancy is proof of good faith moving forward. And me? Collateral damage, a mistake corrected. He pulls out a second document. Unless you fight back. The paper is crisp, still warm from the printer. The header reads, Counter petition for fraud and emotional damages. They didn't tell you about her, he says. They didn't disclose the timeline. They didn't give you the option to exit before public humiliation. He taps the signature line. You have grounds. She doesn't touch the pen he's offering. What do I get? She asks. Enough to disappear. Enough to rebuild. He pauses. Enough to make them remember your name every time they write a check. The pen is heavy. German-made. Black lacquer with silver trim. The same kind her husband used to sign the merger that made him the youngest board chairman in company history. She signs. The board meeting starts at 9. She arrives at 8:45. The building's main lobby is 3 stories of glass and Italian marble, anchored by a reception desk that's never unmanned. The woman behind it looks up, her expression shifting from professional courtesy to something more careful. Mrs. Ashford, good morning. I'm here for the board meeting. Of course. Conference room A. She doesn't reach for the phone, doesn't offer a visitor badge. 9th floor. The elevator ride is smooth, soundless, efficient. The doors open onto a hallway lined with photographs, company milestones, ribbon cuttings, handshakes with senators and foreign ministers. In the center, a portrait of the Ashford family. 4 generations. She's in the back row, positioned slightly to the left, her smile the kind that photographs well but never reaches the eyes. Conference room A is already half full. She recognizes every face. The CFO who vacationed in Monaco last summer. The lead counsel who redrafted the prenup 3 times before she signed it. The VP of operations who sent flowers when they announced the engagement, white roses with a card that said, "Welcome to the family." None of them look at her directly. She takes a seat at the far end of the table. The chair is leather, ergonomic, designed for 8-hour negotiations. She adjusts the height, smooths her skirt, folds her hands on the polished surface. At 9 exactly, the door opens. Mother Ashford enters first. Navy suit, pearls, the kind of grooming that requires a team. Behind her, the attorneys. Behind them, her husband. And behind him, the other woman. She's younger. Mid-20s, maybe. Dark hair pulled into a low bun, minimal makeup, a dress that's expensive without being obvious. Her left hand rests on her stomach. Not protectively. Not consciously, just there. The gesture of someone who's still getting used to the weight. Mother Ashford takes the head of the table. Everyone else files into position with the efficiency of a choreographed routine. The other woman sits 3 seats down from her husband, close enough to be associated, far enough to maintain deniability. Let's begin. Mother Ashford's voice cuts through the low murmur of settling. We're here to address a transition in family structure and ensure continuity of leadership during a period of organizational evolution. She doesn't say, divorce. Doesn't say, replacement. Doesn't acknowledge the woman sitting 12 feet away from the man she married in a ceremony that cost $4 million and made the front page of 3 newspapers. The annulment petition has been filed. Mother Ashford continues. Finalization is expected within 60 days. During this interim period, all public-facing events will proceed as scheduled, with appropriate adjustments to personnel. Personnel. Not spouse. Not partner. Personnel. Questions? Mother Ashford's gaze sweeps the room, clinical and final. She raises her hand. The room goes still. Yes? Mother Ashford's tone doesn't change, but something tightens around her mouth. I have a statement. This isn't the forum for, I'm still legally married to your son. Her voice is calm, clear. That makes this my forum. The silence that follows is absolute. No shuffling papers, no cleared throats. Even the climate control seems to hold its breath. She stands. The chair rolls back soundlessly. I was told this marriage was a partnership, that it was built on mutual respect and shared vision. She doesn't look at her husband, doesn't need to. I was told that my role was essential, that my presence mattered. She reaches into her bag, pulls out a manila folder, sets it on the table with deliberate care. This is a counter-petition. Fraud, emotional damages, breach of contract. She slides it toward Mother Ashford. You wanted a transition. Here it is. Mother Ashford doesn't touch the folder. This is inappropriate. So is presenting my replacement at a board meeting. She picks up her bag. But here we are. She walks toward the door, every step measured, every breath controlled. She can feel 30 pairs of eyes tracking her movement, calculating risk, recalibrating allegiances. Her husband's voice stops her halfway. Wait. She doesn't turn around. We can discuss this privately, he says. No. She looks back over her shoulder. We're done discussing. The door closes behind her with a soft, final click. The hallway is empty. Her heels strike the marble in steady rhythm as she walks toward the elevator. Her phone buzzes once, twice. She doesn't check it. The elevator arrives. Empty. She steps inside, presses the button for the ground floor, and watches the numbers descend in silence. On the 34th floor, the doors open. He steps inside. Not her husband. The attorney. The one who arrived in 30 minutes, who read the documents without flinching, who handed her a pen and showed her exactly where to sign. You walked out, he says. I made a statement. You declared war. The elevator resumes its descent. 32, 30, 28. They fired the first shot, she says. They have more ammunition. She looks at him directly. Then we'd better reload. The doors open onto the lobby. Morning light streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, cutting sharp angles across the marble floor. Outside, the city moves at its usual pace. Taxis, pedestrians, delivery trucks triple parked with hazards blinking. Where are you going? He asks. Somewhere they don't own the doors. He follows her outside. The air is crisp, autumn-edged, carrying the smell of roasted nuts from a street cart 2 blocks over. She starts walking north. No destination, just movement. I have a place, he says. Midtown. Secure. No connection to the family. She stops, turns to face him. Why are you helping me? Because you asked. That's not an answer. He holds her gaze. 4 years ago. You called me at 2 a.m. You just found out about the fertility clauses. You wanted to know if you could void the prenup. He doesn't look away. I told you it was too late, that you'd already signed, that your only option was to comply or leave. She remembers. The hotel room in Singapore, the document she'd found in his briefcase, the feeling of every door locking simultaneously. You stayed, he says. I thought that meant you'd accepted the terms. I thought I could change them. Did you? The answer sits heavy between them, unspoken but undeniable. I have a car, he says. 2 blocks west. It's not registered to the firm. She doesn't ask how he knew she'd need an exit route, doesn't question why he's offering one. Some rescues don't require explanation. Show me, she says. The apartment is on the 42nd floor of a building that doesn't advertise its amenities. No doorman, no concierge, just a security desk staffed by a man who nods once and returns to his crossword without asking for ID. The elevator requires a key. He uses his, presses 42. The doors close. How long have you had this place? She asks. 3 years. Does anyone know about it? You, now. The elevator opens directly into the apartment. No hallway, no neighbors. Just a private vestibule that leads into a living space designed for someone who values function over presentation. Charcoal furniture, clean lines, books stacked on surfaces that weren't meant to hold them. Guest room is through there. He gestures to a door on the left. Bathroom stocked. Security system is biometric. Your thumbprint will be added to the access list by tonight. She sets her bag on the console table. What's this going to cost me? Nothing. Everyone wants something. He meets her eyes. I want you to win. The words hang in the air, unadorned and final. Why? She asks. Because they don't think you can. She looks around the apartment, at the evidence of a life lived outside the structures she spent 4 years navigating. At the books on contract law and mergers, the framed photograph of a woman who might be his mother or his mentor, the coffee mug still sitting on the kitchen counter with a half-inch of cold espresso at the bottom. I'll need access to financial records, she says, transaction histories, communication logs. Anything that proves they planned this before filing the annulment. I've already started pulling files. They'll notice. They'll try to stop it. He picks up a tablet from the dining table. That's when we'll know what they're really hiding. He hands her the tablet. The screen shows a network diagram, companies, subsidiaries, shell corporations, all traced back to a central node labeled Ashford Holdings. Red lines connect to offshore accounts, blue lines to domestic trusts, green lines to entities she doesn't recognize. What am I looking at? She asks. The family's actual structure, not the one they show the board. He zooms in on a cluster of green lines. These entities were created in the last 18 months. All of them list your husband as primary beneficiary, and none of them appear in the asset disclosure you signed during the prenup revision. She traces one of the green lines with her finger. It terminates at a company called Meridian Trust Holdings, incorporated in Delaware. No public filings, no listed officers. How much? She asks. Conservatively? 800 million. The number doesn't register at first. Not because it's too large, but because it's too specific, too real, too much like the kind of detail that changes lawsuits into scandals. Can you prove it? She asks, with time. He takes the tablet back. And access. To what? His office, his home server, his personal devices. He sets the tablet down. Things you can get to that I can't. She understands immediately. Yeah, you want me to go back. I want you to have options. Breaking and entering isn't an option. It's not breaking if you still have keys. She does. 3 of them. Penthouse office, summer house in Connecticut. All of them sitting in her purse right now, still on the key ring he gave her the day after the wedding. They'll have changed the locks, she says. Not yet. That requires board approval. Paperwork. Liability review. He checks his watch. You have maybe 48 hours before the security protocols update. And if I get caught? Then we argue duress, coercion, that you were retrieving personal property from a residence you're still legally entitled to occupy. He pauses. But you won't get caught. You can't know that. I know you. His voice is quieter now. You don't take risks you can't calculate. She looks at him. Really looks. The way she hasn't allowed herself to in 4 years. At the slight shadow under his eyes that suggests too many late nights. At the watch that's expensive but not showy, chosen for precision rather than status. At the way he stands with his weight distributed evenly, balanced, ready to move in any direction required. Why did you really come tonight? She asks. When I called. He doesn't answer immediately. The silence stretches, but it's not empty. It's full of things that can't be said in the language they've been speaking. Because you deserved better than what they were going to do to you, he finally says. And because I should have told you that 4 years ago. The truth of it settles between them. Irrevocable. If I do this, she says, if I go back and get what you need, what happens next? We build a case they can't settle quietly. We force disclosure. We make them choose between paying you or protecting their reputation. And if they choose reputation, then we go to court. and we win. She walks to the window. 42 floors below, the city pulses with its usual indifference. Somewhere down there, her husband is sitting in his office, taking calls, signing documents, moving through his day as if this morning's confrontation was just another meeting to be managed and forgotten. She pulls out her phone, opens her contacts, finds the one labeled Building Security, Penthouse. "This is Mrs. Ashford," she says when someone answers. "I left some personal items in the residence. I'll be coming by tonight to collect them." The voice on the other end hesitates. "I'll need to verify." "With Mr. Ashford? Go ahead. Tell him I'll be there at 8. She ends the call before they can respond. The attorney is watching her with something that might be approval. 8 o'clock, she says. That gives us 6 hours to plan. "Us?" he asks. "You're the one who wanted in." She turns to face him fully. "Now you are." They work through the afternoon. The dining table becomes command center. Laptops, legal pads, floor plans of the penthouse printed from building management files he's acquired through methods he doesn't explain. He maps the security cameras. She identifies the blind spots. He outlines the server architecture. She remembers the passwords her husband never thought to change. At 7, she showers, changes into clothes that suggest she's there for practicality, not confrontation. Black pants, simple blouse, flat shoes that won't echo in marble hallways. When she emerges, he's on the phone. His voice is low, clipped, the tone of someone delivering instructions that won't be questioned. "Wants it done tonight." "Yes. Full extraction." "No, don't wait for confirmation." He sees her and holds up one finger. "I'll handle the transfer. Just make sure nothing's corrupted." He ends the call. "Who was that?" she asks. "Someone who specializes in data recovery." "You hired a hacker." "I hired a consultant." He hands her a small black device, roughly the size of a thumb drive. "Plug this into any USB port on his computer. It'll clone the hard drive remotely. Takes about 90 seconds. She turns the device over in her hand. "This is illegal. So is hiding $800 million from your spouse." She pockets the device. "What else?" He gives her an earpiece. "Two-way communication. I'll be monitoring from here. If anything changes, I'll let you know." "You're expecting something to change?" "I'm expecting them to make a move. I don't know what it is yet." He checks his watch. 7:40. "You should go." The car is waiting downstairs. Not a town car, not a service. Just a dark sedan with tinted windows and a driver who doesn't ask questions. She gets in the back. The door closes with a solid thunk. The drive takes 12 minutes. Traffic is light. The city slides past in familiar patterns. Storefronts, pedestrians, the orange glow of street lights beginning to warm against the fading daylight. The car stops in front of her building. The doorman sees her through the window and immediately reaches for the handle. "Mrs. Ashford, good evening." She steps out. "I'm here to collect some things from the penthouse." His expression doesn't change, but something in his posture does. A subtle shift, a preparation for conflict. "Of course. I'll let security know you're on your way up." The lobby is exactly as she left it this morning. Same marble, same lighting. Same enormous floral arrangement on the center table, white orchids that get replaced every 3 days, whether they've wilted or not. The elevator rises in silence. 40 floors. She counts them in her head, matching each number to the pressure building in her chest. At 37, the doors open briefly. Someone getting on. A woman in yoga clothes, earbuds in, eyes on her phone. She doesn't look up. At 41, the doors open onto the private hallway. The guard at the penthouse door is different from last night. Younger, less certain. He straightens when he sees her. "Mrs. Ashford, I was told to expect you." "Then you know why I'm here." He hesitates. His hand moves toward his earpiece, then stops. Mr. Ashford is inside. He asked me to let him know when you arrived. So, let him know. The guard speaks into his radio. Low. Brief. She can't make out the words. 10 seconds later, the door opens. Her husband stands in the entryway, still in his suit from this morning. Tie loosened, expression carefully neutral. You didn't need to call ahead, he says. I thought courtesy was important to your mother. He steps aside. Take what you need. She walks past him into the apartment she decorated 3 years ago. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Custom furniture from Milan. Art that was selected by a consultant who charged $20,000 for 2 days of recommendations. None of it feels like hers. She heads toward the bedroom. He doesn't follow. The earpiece in her ear stays silent. The bedroom is untouched. Same bedding. Same photographs on the nightstand. Their wedding. A vacation in Santorini. A charity gala where they smiled for cameras and said nothing to each other in the car ride home. She opens the closet. Her clothes are still here. Every dress, every shoe, every piece of jewelry arranged with the precision of someone who's never had to worry about space. She pulls out a carry-on bag, starts filling it with essentials. Not everything, just enough to make this look legitimate. The office is adjacent to the bedroom. Door closed. She opens it. His desk dominates the room. Mahogany. Oversized. The kind of desk that's meant to intimidate. His laptop sits closed in the center, power cord wrapped neatly beside it. She listens. No footsteps, no voices, just the faint hum of the building's mechanical systems. She crosses to the desk, opens the laptop. The screen lights up immediately, no password on the home system, a security oversight he's never bothered to correct. She pulls the black device from her pocket, finds the USB port. Plugs it in. The screen flickers. A progress bar appears. Establishing connection. 60 seconds, the attorney said. She counts them. 1, 2, 3. At 15, she hears the door open behind her. Looking for something? She doesn't turn, doesn't remove the device, just watches the progress bar climb. 20%. 25. Financial records, she says. For my attorney. Those are privileged. So is $800 million in undisclosed assets. The silence that follows is sharp enough to draw blood. 40%. 45. You should be careful, he says. His voice is closer now. He's moved into the room. Making accusations like that. I'm not making accusations. She turns to face him. I'm stating facts. He looks at the laptop, at the device plugged into it, at her hand resting on the desk, steady and sure. That's theft, he says. That's evidence. 60%. 65. He takes another step forward. She doesn't move back. You don't know what you're doing, he says. I know exactly what I'm doing. 75%. 80. His hand moves toward the laptop. She intercepts it. Not aggressively, just enough to stop the motion. Don't, she says. They stand like that for 3 seconds. 5. His hand under hers, the laptop between them. The weight of 4 years pressing down on every unspoken thing. I could have loved you, he says quietly. But you didn't. 90%. 95. The progress bar completes. The device ejects itself with a soft click. She removes it, pockets it, steps back. I'll send someone for the rest of my things, she says. She walks past him, out of the office, through the bedroom, into the hallway where the guard is still standing at attention, pretending he didn't hear any of what just happened. The elevator ride down is the longest 41 floors of her life. When she reaches the lobby, the attorney is waiting. Not in the car. Inside. Standing near the entrance with his hands in his pockets and an expression that gives away nothing. "You got it?" he asks. She hands him the device. He doesn't smile, doesn't celebrate, just closes his fingers around it and nods once. "Now we move," he says. The data takes 6 hours to process. They do it in his apartment, the consultant working from a laptop in the guest room while she and the attorney sit in the living room with coffee that's gone cold and a silence that's surprisingly comfortable. At 3 a.m, the consultant emerges. "You need to see this," he says. They gather around the laptop. The screen shows a spreadsheet with hundreds of entries. Dates, amounts, account numbers. Entity names she's never heard of. "This goes back 7 years, the consultant says. Before the marriage, before the prenup. He's been building this structure since he took over as chairman." "How much?" the attorney asks. "Total?" "Just over $2 billion. The number lands like a physical blow. $2 billion, she repeats, hidden across 47 entities, most of them offshore, some domestic but structured to avoid disclosure requirements. The consultant scrolls down. And here's the interesting part. He pulls up a second document. A contract, dated 6 months ago. "This is an agreement between your husband and the other woman's family," he says. "They're consolidating holdings, merging dynasties. Your marriage was—" He pauses, searching for the right word. "Temporary," she finishes. "Contractually limited," the consultant says. The prenup included a sunset clause. 5 years. If no children were produced, the marriage could be annulled and all assets retained by the family with minimal payout. She does the math in her head. "They've been married for 4 years and 7 months. I was never meant to last," she says. The attorney is reading the contract with the focus of someone finding ammunition. "This changes everything. They didn't just hide assets, they entered the marriage in bad faith. They planned the exit before you signed the prenup." "Can we prove it?" she asks. "We just did." The lawsuit goes public on a Wednesday, not through official channels, through a leak. A journalist she's never met publishes a story at 6 a.m. Ashford heir accused of hiding billions in sham marriage. By noon, it's on every major outlet. By evening, the stock has dropped 8%. Her phone rings continuously. She doesn't answer. The attorney handles all communication, releasing statements that are precise and devastating in equal measure. "Our client entered this marriage in good faith. She was deceived about its true nature and duration. The evidence speaks for itself. The evidence is 47 pages, financial records, contracts, communications between her husband and his attorneys discussing optimal exit timing and minimizing exposure." Mother Ashford releases a counterstatement. "These allegations are baseless and will be addressed through proper legal channels." But the board doesn't wait for legal channels. 3 members resign within 24 hours. 2 more call for an emergency review. The CFO, the one who vacationed in Monaco, issues a statement saying he was unaware of any financial irregularities and is cooperating fully with internal investigations. On Thursday, her husband calls. She almost doesn't answer, but the attorney nods and she picks up. "We need to talk," he says. No greeting, no pretense. Through attorneys. "Please," the word sounds foreign in his mouth. Face to face, one conversation. She looks at the attorney. He shakes his head. She answers anyway. "Where?" "The house in Connecticut. Tomorrow, noon." "I'll have someone with me." "So will I." The line goes dead. The Connecticut house sits on 47 acres of pristine waterfront. Private dock. Guest cottage. Gardens maintained by a team that arrives every Tuesday and Friday at dawn. She arrives at 11:55. The attorney is driving. Neither of them speaks for the last 10 miles. The circular driveway is empty except for one car. Black, expensive, familiar. They park, Walk to the door. It opens before they can knock. Mother Ashford. She's dressed for battle. Tailored suit. Minimal jewelry. The kind of presentation that says, I am not here to negotiate. He's in the study, she says. The study overlooks the water, floor-to-ceiling windows, leather furniture, a fireplace that's never been lit because the house is only used in summer. Her husband stands when she enters. The other woman is not with him, just his attorney, a different one, someone she hasn't seen before. Thank you for coming, he says. She doesn't sit. Neither does the attorney beside her. You have 15 minutes, she says. We want to settle. No. The word is absolute. Final. It echoes in the space between them. You haven't heard the terms, Mother Ashford says from the doorway. I don't need to. 200 million, her husband's attorney says. Full release of all claims, non-disclosure agreement. Immediate finalization. No. 400 million. No. Then what do you want? Mother Ashford's voice is sharp now, controlled fury barely held in check. She looks at her husband, at the man she spent 4 years trying to understand, trying to love, trying to fit into a space that was never meant to hold her. I want everything, she says. Every dollar you hid, every entity you created, every lie you told, documented and disclosed. She pauses. And I want the company. The silence is absolute. That's not possible, Mother Ashford says. Then we go to trial, and I win. You'll destroy us. You destroyed me first. She turns to leave. The attorney follows. They're halfway to the door when her husband speaks. Wait. She stops, doesn't turn around. What if I give you half? He asks. Half of everything. Including controlling interest in the company. You walk away, we both start over. She looks back over her shoulder. Why would you do that? Because you're right. His voice is quiet, stripped of pretense. We destroyed you, and I let it happen. He meets her eyes. This is me trying to make it right. It's 10 years too late for making it right. I know. The attorney beside her is rigid with tension, waiting for her decision. She thinks about the girl she was at 23, the one who signed the prenup because she believed in fairy tales and second chances, the one who thought love was something you could earn through patience and perfect behavior. That girl is gone. 60%, she says, controlling interest plus 20 million in liquid assets. And you step down as chairman. Done. Mother Ashford makes a sound that might be a gasp or a curse. You can't. I can. He doesn't look at his mother. And I am. The papers are drawn up in 3 days. The board meets in emergency session. The vote is contentious but final. Majority control transfers to her, effective immediately. She doesn't attend the meeting. Doesn't need to. The attorney handles it with the efficiency of someone who's been preparing for this moment since the day she signed the counter-petition. On the day the transfer finalizes, she stands in the same conference room where Mother Ashford presented her replacement. The same table, the same chairs, the same portraits on the walls, but everything else is different. The CFO reports to her now. The legal team takes her calls. The security protocols register her biometrics as primary authority. Mother Ashford doesn't attend. Neither does her husband. They're in Connecticut, packing, preparing for whatever comes next. The other woman sends a message through an intermediary. I'm sorry for my part in this. She doesn't respond. At 6 o'clock, the attorney arrives with a bottle of wine that probably costs more than her first car. You won, he says. We won. He doesn't argue, just opens the wine and pours 2 glasses. They stand at the window, looking out over the city that almost swallowed her whole. The lights are starting to come on. Offices, apartments, street lamps fighting back the dusk. What happens now? He asks. I rebuild. As myself. She takes a sip of wine. It's excellent. Without permission. He smiles. It's the first real smile she's seen from him in 4 years. Maybe longer. I should go, he says. Or you could stay. The offer hangs between them, unadorned and true. He sets down his glass. Are you sure? I'm sure I don't want to be alone tonight. That's not the same thing. No, she agrees. It's not. They stand there in the fading light, two people who've been orbiting each other in careful distances for longer than either wants to admit. I don't want to be another mistake, he says quietly. Then don't be. He moves closer, not touching, just close enough that she can feel the heat of him, the solid reality of someone who showed up when everyone else walked away. I've wanted this for a long time, he says. I know. How long have you known? Since Singapore. Since 2 a.m. when you told me I was already locked in. She looks up at him. You sounded angry. I was. At me? At myself. For not stopping you from signing in the first place. She reaches up, touches his jaw, feels the tension there, the careful control he maintains in every interaction. You couldn't have stopped me, she says. I wanted to believe the story they were selling. And now? Now I know better. He kisses her, not tentatively, not carefully, with the certainty of someone who's been waiting for permission and finally received it. She responds in kind. 4 years of restraint dissolving into something that feels like freedom and falling in equal measure. When they break apart, he's breathing hard. So is she. Your place or mine? He asks. Yours. I don't want to be in this building any longer than necessary. They take his car. The drive is silent but charged. Every red light feels like an interruption, every block a delay. His apartment is exactly as she left it. Book still stacked, coffee mug still unwashed, evidence of a life lived outside the carefully curated spaces she's been performing in. He doesn't turn on the lights, just pulls her close in the doorway, his hands finding the curve of her waist, his mouth on hers with an intensity that leaves no room for second guessing. She responds with equal force, pulling him closer, demanding more, taking what she wants without asking permission. They don't make it to the bedroom. The couch is closer. The surface is firm beneath her back, his weight pressing her down, his hands working the buttons of her shirt with focused intent. She's not gentle with him either, tugging his tie loose, pushing his jacket off, claiming space and breath and the sharp pleasure of finally letting go. Afterward, they lie tangled together in the half-dark, their breathing slowly returning to normal. That was, he starts. Don't, she interrupts. Don't analyze it. I was going to say overdue. She laughs. The sound surprises her. By about 4 years. Give or take. They resettle, his arm around her, her head on his chest. The city sounds filtering through the windows, sirens, car horns, the endless pulse of a place that never quite sleeps. What are you going to do with the company? He asks. Change it. Into what? Something that doesn't eat people alive. He's quiet for a moment, then. That's ambitious. So was marrying into that family. At least this time I know what I'm fighting. His hand traces lazy patterns on her shoulder. You'll need help. Are you offering? I'm offering whatever you need. She turns to look at him. What if I need you to stay? Then I stay. Just like that? Just like that. She kisses him again. Slower this time, less urgency, more certainty. Stay, she says. Okay. The months that follow are surgical in their precision. She restructures the board. 3 new members. All women. all with experience building companies that value sustainability over extraction. She initiates an external audit. The findings are damning. 12 entities created solely for tax avoidance. 8 shell corporations with no legitimate business purpose. A pattern of aggressive accounting that borders on fraud. She brings in federal regulators, cooperates fully, provides every document they request. The scandal breaks wide open. Front-page news, congressional hearings. Mother Ashford testifies under oath, her composure finally cracking under the weight of evidence she can no longer deny. Her husband negotiates a plea deal, no jail time, but 15 years of probation, a lifetime ban from serving as an officer of any publicly traded company. The other woman disappears from public view. No statements, no interviews, just a quiet exit from a story she never controlled. Through it all, the attorney, her partner, her choice, remain steady. He handles the legal warfare with the same focused intensity he brings to everything. But when they're alone, he's gentle, patient, present in ways she's still learning to accept. 6 months after the takeover, the company posts its first profitable quarter under her leadership. The stock recovers, then climbs. Investor confidence returns, cautious but real. She gives her first interview on a Tuesday. The journalist is sharp, prepared, unafraid to ask difficult questions. "You were dismissed as a trophy wife," the journalist says. "How does it feel to now control the empire that tried to discard you?" She considers the question. "It feels like justice." "And your ex-husband? Any lingering feelings?" "No." "Regrets?" "Only that I didn't fight back sooner." The interview airs during prime time. Within an hour, it's trending. Within a day, it's been viewed 10 million times. The message requests flood in. Women she's never met sharing their own stories of marriages that were cages, of battles they won or lost, of the strange mathematics of starting over. She reads every one, responds to none, but she feels the weight of them, the shared recognition that some victories matter beyond the individual. A year after the takeover, she attends a gala. Not for the company, for a non-profit focused on financial literacy for young women. She's the keynote speaker. The attorney accompanies her. He's in a tuxedo that fits perfectly, his hand resting lightly on her back as they navigate the crowd. No one questions his presence. No one asks what he is to her. They know. During her speech, she tells the truth. Not all of it, just enough. "I thought power was something you earned by making yourself small enough to fit into someone else's vision," she says. "I was wrong. Power is what you take back when you finally understand you were never meant to have it in the first place." The applause is thunderous. After the event, they skip the after-party, drive straight to the apartment that's become theirs. His name on the lease, her furniture slowly filling the spaces. Evidence of a life being built in real time. She kicks off her heels in the entryway. He loosens his tie. They meet in the kitchen, reaching for wine glasses and each other in equal measure. "You were magnificent tonight," he says. "I was honest." "Same thing." She smiles. "Not always." He pours the wine, hands her a glass. They toast to nothing in particular, just the fact of being here, together, on the other side of a war that could have destroyed them both. Later, in bed, he asks the question she's been waiting for. "Do you think you'll ever marry again?" She doesn't answer immediately. The question deserves thought, respect, honesty. "I don't know," she finally says. "Marriage means something different to me now." "Better or worse?" "Just different." She turns to face him. "Why? Are you asking?" "Not yet. But someday? Maybe." He brushes hair from her face. "If you want me to, I'll let you know." "Fair enough." They fall asleep like that, tangled together, safe in the knowledge that tomorrow will come with its own set of demands. but tonight belongs only to them. 2 years after the takeover, she stands in the conference room where this all began. Same table, same windows, same view of a city that's learned to fear her name. But the portraits on the walls are different now. She's replaced the Ashford Dynasty gallery with photographs of the company's workforce, the people who actually build, create, and sustain. Engineers, designers, factory workers, customer service representatives. Mother Ashford's portrait hangs in the basement, next to the old security equipment and the furniture that didn't survive the renovation. The board meeting begins at 9. She sits at the head of the table. The attorney, her partner now in every sense that matters, sits 3 seats down. Professional distance maintained, personal connection undeniable. The CFO presents the quarterly results. Revenue up 18%, profit margins expanding, employee retention at a 5-year high. Questions? The CFO asks. She has none. The numbers speak for themselves. After the meeting, she walks back to her office alone. The hallway is quiet. The portraits of workers watch her pass with the same steady gaze they offer everyone. Her office hasn't changed much. Same desk, same windows, but the photographs are hers now. The attorney laughing at something she said, a candid shot from the non-profit gala, a sunrise she photographed from his apartment balcony on a morning when neither of them wanted to move. She sits at the desk, opens her laptop, responds to 3 emails, approves 2 budget requests, declines a speaking invitation because the date conflicts with a vacation she's planned with the attorney. 2 weeks in Iceland, away from buildings that require key cards and families that treat people as assets. At noon, her assistant knocks. "Your lunch reservation is confirmed. Should I have a car brought around?" "No." "I'll walk." The restaurant is 8 blocks away. She makes the journey in comfortable silence, one hand in her coat pocket, the other holding her phone with the ringer off. The attorney is already there when she arrives, seated at a corner table. 2 menus, water glasses already poured. She sits across from him. Hi yourself." He smiles. "Good meeting?" "Productive." That's code for boring. "Extremely." They order, eat, talk about everything except work. The book he's reading, the documentary she watched last night, plans for the trip that's still 3 weeks away but already feels necessary. Over coffee, he reaches across the table, takes her hand. "I have something for you," he says. She raises an eyebrow. "It's not my birthday." "I know." He pulls a small box from his jacket pocket. Navy blue. Simple. Not ostentatious. Her heart does something complicated in her chest. "Before you panic," he says, "it's not what you think." She opens the box. Inside is a key. Bronze, old-fashioned, the kind that opens doors built before electronic locks. "What is this?" she asks. "My parents' house, upstate. It's been empty since they died." He doesn't let go of her hand. "I thought maybe we could use it. Weekends. Whenever we need to remember what quiet sounds like." She looks at the key, at the man offering it, at the future being shaped in real time through small gestures and large truths. "Okay," she says. "Okay? Okay." He smiles. "That's it? No questions?" "I have questions, but they can wait." "Until when?" "Until I know the answers." He laughs. The sound is warm, genuine, the kind of laughter that doesn't perform or calculate, just exists. They finish their coffee, pay the bill, walk back toward her office building with no particular urgency. On the corner of Madison and 52nd, he kisses her. Brief, public, unashamed. "I'll see you tonight," he says. "Your place or mine?" "Ours," he corrects. She smiles. "Ours." He leaves first. She watches him go, then turns back towards the building that almost destroyed her, and now answers to her name. The lobby guard nods as she enters. Afternoon, Ms. Ashford. Afternoon, Marcus. The elevator rises. 43 floors. She doesn't count them anymore. Doesn't need to. The journey is familiar now. Routine. Hers. When she reaches her office, the assistant is waiting with a folder. "This just came by courier," she says. "Marked urgent." Inside is a single document. A letter. Handwritten. "I'm sorry for what we did to you. I know it doesn't change anything. But I wanted you to know her ex-husband's signature is barely legible at the bottom. She reads it once, then sets it aside. Some apologies arrive too late. Some damage can't be undone. But understanding that, accepting it, is its own kind of freedom. She doesn't respond to the letter, doesn't need to. Instead, she opens her laptop, pulls up the file for the nonprofit she's funding, the one that teaches young women about contract law, about reading prenups, about asking questions before signing their lives away. She adds another $1 million to the endowment. Then she schedules a meeting with the board. There's work to do, people to protect, systems to change. The city stretches out beyond her windows, indifferent and infinite. Somewhere down there, people are making the same mistakes she did. Is signing the same contracts, believing the same promises. She can't save them all, but she can save some. And that's enough. At 7, she leaves the office. The attorney is waiting in the lobby, leaning against the marble column with his hands in his pockets and a look on his face that says he's been there for exactly 2 minutes and would have waited for 200 more. "Ready?" he asks. "Ready." They walk out together, into the evening, into the life they're building one choice at a time. The city doesn't notice, doesn't care. It just keeps moving, the way it always has, the way it always will. But she notices, she cares, and that makes all the difference. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Mr. Douglas Tales, where powerful stories unfold one moment at a time.